scoring fewer runs than the team that has the most runs in all of baseball generally is not a good combination. They have an amazing run differential for a reason. The Dodgers are really freaking good, and the Brewers are going to need to play their best to claim even a couple of games against this team. And yesterday, they simply weren't their best. Let's talk about it. You're locked on.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Real tough one yesterday, but there is a bright note in the Brewers' 4-0 loss to the Dodgers yesterday. Chorizo won the sausage race. That was fun. That was electric. That might have been the best moment of the night, not going to lie. Brewers fall 4-0. This is Locked On Brewers. I'm Dominic Cotroneo, your only daily podcast dedicated to the Brewers all season long. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, free and available. Monday through Friday, we drop episodes every single morning. I'm the statistician for Valley Sports Wisconsin, but let's, before we jump into Brewers talk, we got plenty to talk about a loss. Not going to be a very long episode today. If you were on Twitter yesterday, you might have seen some big news pertaining to me. I'm the new host of Brewers Extra Innings, a.k.a. the postgame call-in show on WTMJ 620 here in Milwaukee. I'm thrilled, I'm honored, and I'm excited. Yesterday, I had my first show co-hosting with Greg Matzik. Tonight, I will be on again, hosting the show with Greg and with Craig Kashawn. And then tomorrow, I'll have the reins to myself, and I'll start folding in here a little more frequently. Right now, it's going to be like 4 or 5 days a week as of now. There's a schedule abnormalities with weekday day games and things like that. But I'm stoked. I'm so honored to be thought of and WTMJ to think of me and to trust me with this program. You may recall Matt Pauley held this position in the past, and obviously he's now in St. Louis, and he's Benedict Arnold. I mean, he's down with KMOX, so no, I'm kidding. I'm very happy for Matt down there with the Cardinals now, and obviously he leaves a vacancy here with WTMJ, and I'm honored to be in this role for the rest of this season and for the offseason with Brewers Weekly, the podcast, and the live show as well on WTMJ. And if you're wondering what is my future with Locked On Brewers, we are still here. An episode still dropped this morning, right? Look, it's going to be a lot these last couple of months, but we'll reassess coming up in the offseason how much I'll be able to do both, be totally honest. But obviously the schedule lightens up in the offseason, and we'll change our episode structure so it makes things easier. But for the rest of the regular season, I'm all in. We're doing both. So the way I view it is if you want that live, immediate reaction, first thing, as soon as the game ends, flip on over to 620 WTMJ, or you can listen online, WTMJ.com. We have the call-in and the text line. I always tweet that every night, so you're welcome to participate in the show live. And then if you want to just go to bed, or if you left early, whatever, this podcast will be waiting for you right here. First listen every morning. And if you want to hear both, they're actually both available if you search WTMJ wherever you get your podcasts as well. But listen to us first, listen to Locked On Brewers. Get your fix, get you to work, and then maybe when you're at work, if you want to just hear some of the call-ins or some of the texts and hear the participation, hop in, have a good time. My thanks to Greg Matzik. My thanks to Craig Karmazin, Steve Wexler, Ryan McGuire, everybody at WTMJ and Good Karma Brands. I am honored. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. And I'm excited to just keep talking to Brewers fans. You guys are amazing, and you've been so kind and courteous to me, technically being an outsider. You've treated me like one of your own. Wouldn't expect anything less from the Midwest hospitality. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to do this podcast, allowing me to hop on WTMJ now. I'm not going to get much sleep here this next month and a half, but we're going to do both. We're going to hang in there. We're going to drink a lot of coffee. But it's going to be great. I'm honored, and I can't wait to see what it will become for both Locked On Brewers and WTMJ. I think this could be a really good match for both parties involved. We are still a daily podcast, and we take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And last night was a mix of the bad and the ugly. Brewers fall 4-0. There's a few key numbers I want to get to, But before we jump into the actual recap of this game, I just want to make a point, as I teased in the preview, of just, look, this team's won 80 games, the Dodgers, okay? They are 19 games better than the Brewers right now. They're 61-53 are the Brewers. The Dodgers are 80-34. They have lost one game in the month of August. One! They're a really freaking good team. That lineup, listen to this lineup, okay? Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman. Will Smith, Max Muncy, Justin Turner. Gavin Lux, Chris Taylor, Cody Bellinger. Come on. Cut me some slack, man. That is gnarly. Oh, their rotation, yes, they had a blow with Walker Buehler yesterday. Oh, well, they'll just throw Julio Urias out there. Clayton Kershaw is on the IL. Oh, he'll be back by the end of the month. He'll be fine. Oh, Dustin May's coming back on Saturday. Oh, the ERA top 3 guys and Tyler Anderson and Tony Gonsolin. Oh, okay, those guys are good. Oh, well, who's their closer? They got rid of Kenley Jansen. Oh, they have Craig Kimbrell. They're really freaking good, okay? And I tweeted this. We are not going to overreact about a loss to the first-place team and a team that is the preseason favorite to win the World Series. This is what the Dodgers are supposed to do against a team like the Brewers. Completely outplay them in every facet of the game. The Dodgers left runs on the board, as did the Brewers. Brewers went 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers, 4 runs is all they needed. They only had 6 hits, but they were aided by 4 walks, all of them by Freddy Peralta. More on Freddy's start here in a second. That's what good teams do. That's what elite teams do, I should say. The Dodgers, to say the least, are an absolutely elite team. So as there's 3 more games in this homestand against the Dodgers. Then you got 3 next week against Los Angeles in LA. I talked about this on WTMJ last night, that when you look at this stretch of 13 games, including last night, with 7 against the Dodgers and 6 against the Cubs, I personally would be A-okay with a 6-7 stretch between the Dodgers and the Cubs. Because, in my opinion, that formula would end up being 2-5 against the Dodgers, and then 4-2 against the Cubs. That's winning both series in those 3-game sets against Chicago, which is what you're supposed to do. So that allows you to go 2-5 against the Cubs, or against the Dodgers, and then 4-2 against the Cubs puts you at 6-7 for those 13 games. The way that you can improve on that and make it 7-6, what helps you is you're going to get Corbin Burnes pitching against the Dodgers twice. He gets Thursday, and as things line up right now, he would likely get Tuesday in Los Angeles, maybe Wednesday if they want to give him an extra day. But he would pitch also in Los Angeles next week. So 2 Corbin Burnes starts. And Brandon Woodruff is going tonight. So maybe that's where you find your 3 wins with these guys starting on the mound. Whatever else you can steal, awesome. And don't forget, you got Eric Lauer, the Dodger killer. More on him in a little bit later. Brewers fall 4-0. Let's get into the actual game now. Before we get there, I want to tell you about the Built Bar Puffs. You've heard me talk about them over and over here on Locked On Brewers. Let me introduce you to one of life's greatest little joys. The flavor, the nutrition, the absolute deliciousness that you can find with their brand new flavor. Now they got the cookie dough chunk puffs. It's a light, chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks in these little marshmallows, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate, and yet you don't have to worry about any of the hassle of making cookie dough, and it's healthy for you. You can replace all your sweet treats in your pantry with these awesome cookie dough chunk puffs. They're only 160 calories, and they have 15 grams of protein in them. You can have something that's actually good for you with these all these bars and puffs are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides a ton of health benefits. And you're eating something that actually tastes good. So you can use a promo code LOCKEDON15. It's a new promo code, okay? LOCKEDON15 at Built.com. One more time. Built, BUILT.com. Promo code is LOCKEDON15 to get 15% off your order. Brewers fall 4-0. And Julio Urias, you can talk about a lefty being on the mound. Okay, he's 13-6. He lowered his ERA, not allowing a run. Freddy Peralta had a weird start. But what I look at from this game, Brewers had opportunities. And as easily as this game was 4-0 Dodgers, in my opinion, it could have just as easily been 4-4 at some point in this game. Brewers went 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. And we talked about it in yesterday's episode with Katie Wu, in that Friday's game, they go 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position against the Cardinals. Saturday, Adam Wainwright carries a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Brewers did not have a single at-bat with a runner in scoring position in innings 1 through 9. They needed a placed runner to get their first at-bat with a runner in scoring position. Then you look to Sunday, they didn't have a single at-bat with a runner in scoring position. So in regulation now, they have not had a hit with a runner in scoring position, that's excluding extra innings, since Friday. Going back to Friday now, they are just 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position over their last 4 games in innings 1 through 9. There's your answer. I mean, the Brewers had opportunities. They had a runner on second base and nobody out twice. He didn't score, obviously. Julio Urias pitched well. He didn't pitch lights out, but he pitched well. 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. I crunched the numbers over the last few starts. The Brewers, you go back to the walk-off win on Wednesday against the Rays. Jeffrey Springs pitched well in that game. You go to Friday against the Cardinals. Jordan Montgomery pitches well. Friday, Wainwright pitches well. Sunday, Michaelis pitches well. And now yesterday, Urias pitches well. Those 5 games, the starting pitcher ERA against the Brewers is 1.86. Not a single starter has allowed more than 2 runs in a start against the Brewers in the last 5 games. That have gone, and all of them have gone at least 5 innings. Brewers are having a hard time figuring out starters right now. They're not drawing as many walks. They drew 2 walks yesterday. They did make Urias work. 94 pitches in those 5 innings. Probably the hardest he's had to work all year. But at the end of the day, the Brewers had 1 extra base hit. 1. The double by Tyrone Taylor off of Urias to lead off an inning. When your 9-hole hitter leads off with a double and he doesn't move with the top of your order coming up, something's wrong. Something is absolutely wrong. Look, Yelich hasn't had a hit. He's 0 for his last 25 now. Adames is ice cold. You look back to the weekend now, combined, since Friday against the Cardinals, combined, Adames and Yelich are just 3 for 30 with 2 walks, both of them drawn yesterday by Yelich, and 9 strikeouts now between those 2 players, 1 and 2 in your order. 3 for 30 over the last 4 games at the top of this order. It is falling fast right now for Christian Yelich. And he's drawing walks, but he's not even able to steal bases right now because there's been guys on base and they haven't been able to get the big hit. Yelich in the top of the order, I don't know how much longer it's going to last given how hot Colton Wong has been. When do you put Colton Wong back in a leadoff spot against a righty? And then does Yelich continue to play against lefties? Do you have to platoon it with Andrew McCutchen coming in the left? And McCutchen was 0 for 4. No one really had a good day. Rowdy had 2 hits despite facing a lefty, 2 singles against the shift. Tyrone Taylor's double, that was it. The Brewers only had 4 hits in this game. They struck out 10 times. They even struck out 4 times in 1 inning. The offense is absolutely lost right now. And it seems like every single mistake they make gets compounded. You look at Adames' throwing error. That run eventually comes around to score as Mookie Betts comes in to score on the sacrifice fly on one of the worst throws I've seen all season, regardless of position, with Christian Yelich trying to throw home. Luckily for them, it didn't come back to bite them with the runner advancing from first, second on that sacrifice fly. But what was the game plan there for Yelich, truly thinking he was going to try to throw out Mookie Betts tagging from third on a medium depth fly ball to left for a guy that everybody knows does not have an arm? Christian Yelich cannot throw well anymore. That throw has to go to second base. Those little things add up in a postseason and in a pennant race so that if that run did come in to score from second base because he was put in the scoring position in that fashion, that just can't happen. That's the kind of play that you circle that needs to be cleaned up now in August to make sure it doesn't happen in September when games are truly coming down to every single pitch. I wanted to get that out of the way. Freddie Freeman, man, his last 2 swings, you go back, his last 2 swings going into that at-bat against Freddy Peralta in the first inning. So he has the game-winning home run in the 8th inning in Game 4 of the DS last year. Then his next swing against the Brewers is a solo homer, 110 miles an hour off the bat, a no-doubt shot to right field. And this is the dude that made fun of Miller Park when it first opened, that's saying it plays like a Little League field, a poorly lit Little League field. You're a really good player, okay? And you hit well at American Family Field. Just get on with it, man. Just get on with it, okay? You're a good player, dude. You're a good player. I'm not actually mad at him. And whenever I see that quote, it just makes me laugh because that was his 10th home run now in his 30th game at American Family Field. He's seeing the ball fine. And the Brewers have upgraded the lighting since then, so it is what it is. But Freeman's good. Gavin Lux, the Kenosha kid, solo opposite field home run off of Hobie Milner, which was odd to see. Hobie Milner, his first homer against a lefty this year, and his third homer allowed all year. It all started because a hit by pitch of Justin Turner with 2 strikes, and then you blink and boom, Lux goes yard, and it's suddenly 4-0, and the Dodgers never really looked back from there. With all in all, though, Freddy Peralta had a weird start. Freddy, 4 innings, only 2 hits, but 4 walks, only 3 strikeouts, and 1 run. It was on the home run by Freddie Freeman. What I look at with Peralta's start, and Bill Schroeder made this observation on television yesterday, he had no fastball command, and in my opinion, it all started after that home run to Freddie Freeman. So when Freddie hit that home run, it was a 91-mile-an-hour middle-up fastball that wasn't going to fool anybody. And Freddie has been trying to find that explosion out of his hand with his fastball since coming off the IL. He had it at times last night. We saw some 94s. I'm not worried about his velo, but there are a few 91s and 92s that we've always known he's able to vary his velocity. But when you're throwing 91 middle up to Freddie Freeman, it's generally not going to end well. And I think that home run kind of rattled Freddie. So of the 46 fastballs he threw, only 21 of them were strikes. Think about that for a second. 46 fastballs thrown should be your number one pitch, especially for a guy nicknamed Fastball Freddy. Only 21 were strikes, so less than 50% were strikes. But you look at his secondary stuff and how elite that stuff was. He threw 46 secondary pitches, so equal to his fastball, and he threw a total of 30 strikes. So 9 more strikes with his secondary stuff as opposed to his fastball. That's something to keep an eye on. He needs to get that fastball command back because 4 walks is not going to fly. And the big reason why he wasn't able to go out for the 5th is because of that pitch count rising to 92 pitches in 4 innings. For a guy coming off of a shoulder injury, there is no way Craig Counsell was going to send him back out there. And that leads me to one final point here about the pitching staff. Peter Strzelecki gives up an unearned run, but he hung in there despite allowing the first, unlucky error against him, and then another base hit later in the frame. But he held his own in that frame. Jason Alexander, hat tip, man. He kept this a 4-0 game. And I know it felt like the Brewers had no shot in this game, especially when it was up 4-0. Jason Alexander made sure that it stayed 4-0. And against a very good lineup, he allows 2 hits. He strikes out 2, only facing 2 over the minimum. And the best part about Jason Alexander, not just keeping it 4-0, he saves the bullpen for the rest of the series. It's a 4-game set. They're in the midst of 31 and 31 days. They don't have another off day until next Thursday. So this is a tough stretch right now for the Brew Crew. Being able to save your A arms will come in handy. And now Brad Boxberger hasn't pitched in nearly a week. I imagine he's going to get into the game tonight. I don't think Hobie Milner is going to pitch tonight, but he could still go back-to-back in a fireman situation. And with Trevor Gott on the IL, your righties of Boxberger and Bush are going to be very, very important because now you look at the leverage that you have with Taylor Rogers. If he is going to pitch in high leverage, lefty. Hobie Milner, lefty. Is Matt Bush going to pitch a clean inning? Most likely. So is Boxberger going to be able to clean up his issues with inherited runners? That's going to be a big moment for a right-on-right matchup for Brad Boxberger to line up for to try to set up Devin Williams, assuming he's going to be closing in the 9th inning. And as they try to hold things together before Trevor Rosenthal arrives, because there is good news on that front in the fact that Trevor Rosenthal and Omar Narvaez are starting a rehab assignment today in Nashville with the Sound. So that's very good news to hear for those 2 guys that they're on their way back. So when Rosenthal comes back, he needs to be on the active roster and pitch before September 1st. That way he is eligible if the Brewers make the postseason for the postseason roster. You can't just call up a guy for your postseason roster, at the end of September and say, we want him on our postseason roster. No, he has to have played before September 1st, which is another reason I think Uri Ruiz, his call-up might be imminent too by the end of this month. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens moving forward. Let's get you ready for tonight's game. Before we do that, I want to tell you about BetOnline. Of course, BetOnline, we've talked about them over and over and over again here on Locked On Brewers. It is your number one source for everything you need sports gambling-wise, whether it's baseball, NFL futures, NBA's coming up, NHL's coming up, college football's, anything. BetOnline, has got everything you could ever want to know. Your trusted online source for everything sports betting. If you want to look at some of the stuff here coming up later tonight, Brewers, as we mentioned a moment ago, they will be having right-hander Brandon Woodruff going on the mound against Ryan Pepiot. Right now, the Brewers are actually favored by 1.5 runs, so that's a plus 170 if you put on that, whereas giving the Dodgers 1.5 runs, that's a minus 195. So maybe take the runs. I don't know. It's very interesting because Woodruff's obviously a great option for the Brew Crew. BetOnline thinks that the Brewers have a slight edge, but they know that a lot of money is going to be put on giving runs to the Dodgers. So Big Woo's got his task cut out for him here tonight. But BetOnline is where you can find all of that and more. BetOnline is where the game starts. So Big Woo, he has been awesome since coming off the injured list for the Brewers. I look at him as being one of the captains of this pitching staff, finding a way to stop this streak. So you look at his 8 starts since coming off the injured list on June 28th. The Brewers are 5-3 in those starts, but he himself is 4-0. He has not been the reason the Brewers are losing games. He has not allowed more than 3 runs in any of these starts, in these 8 starts since coming off. He's coming off of 7 strong innings against Tampa Bay Rays. He had a no decision. Yes, he allowed 2 solo homers in that game and the 3 runs. He technically exited trailing down 3-2. That was the Willy walk-off game. But 48 innings, 56 strikeouts, opponents hitting just 208 since he came off the IL. He's getting a ton more strikes. 66% of his pitches have been strikes since coming off the IL with a 2.42 ERA. And in fact, those 2 home runs hit by the Rays on Wednesday were the first 2 homers he's allowed since coming off the IL. He has been a horse since coming out, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Brandon Woodruff can do against this lineup, who he has plenty of experience against. Probably going to see Joey Gallo in this game here tonight. Probably going to see Gavin Lux and Cody Bellinger still in there. They may load it up with lefties. It's a darn good lineup, man. I just don't know what else to say. It's going to be a tall task. If you don't know anything about Ryan Pepiot, he's relatively new, of course, rookie for the Dodgers. You know what? As I think about it, I think it might be Pepio, but let's go with Pepio, like the French pronunciation. But 20 2/3 innings this year, 23 strikeouts, 15 walks, though. So Brewers, one of the best teams at drawing walks, will have to be patient. He's only made 5 starts in the big leagues so far for Pepio. And his last one was 5 innings against the Twins last Wednesday as well. Worked into the 5th inning, I should say. Allowed 4 runs, 3 walks, also a pair of home runs in that game. He's also facing back-to-back opponents over 500 for the first time. He has 2 starts against the Diamondbacks, 1 start against the Pirates, and 1 start against the Rockies. So maybe a decent team and wakes up against this team. The Brewers do, that is, against Pepio. So that's what I look forward to for him. Top prospect coming into the season, only 24 years old, 3rd-round pick back in 2019. Fastball, changeup, slider. He throws majority fastball, of course, 94 miles an hour. Changeup's been deadly, only a 111 average against that changeup this year for all hitters in the big leagues. He will put the ball in the air, though. Gets a lot of fly balls hit against him. Maybe that can get the ball back in the Brewers' edge as far as trying to hit home runs because, yes, they hit home runs on Sunday, but one of them was garbage time by Rowdy Tellez, and the other one, Hunter Renfroe, was really all they had for the entire offense. And then Urias' home run on Saturday, they live and die by the homer. We've talked about that plenty for the Brew Crew all season long. And you look at it, the rest of this series with Pepio versus Woodruff going tonight, same time, same place, 7:10 first pitch. And then tomorrow, Dollar Dog Night, by the way, it'll be Tony Gonsolin and his 14-1, 2.24 ERA against Eric Lauer, the Dodger killer, 8-4 with his ERA sitting at 3.64. Lauer's been getting better and better as the season's gone on. He's starting to find his mode right now. But I mentioned Dodger killer. I'm pulling up his splits right now for his career, including his time with San Diego and his time with the Brewers. He's pitched very, very well in his career against Los Angeles. 9 career starts against LA. 6-0, 2.56 ERA. He has only allowed 15 earned runs in 52 2/3 innings for that 2.56 ERA. He has allowed 8 home runs, but they were a home run hitting team. His whip is 1.101. It's like binary code right there. That's crazy. So Eric Lauer will be going on Wednesday, tomorrow. And then finally the finale, as we mentioned, day game Corbin Burnes against Andrew Heaney. He has recently been picked up by the Dodgers as he's trying to get back. It'll be his 8th start of the season for Los Angeles as he is back and healthy and ready to go for the Dodgers this year, as he was dealing with left shoulder inflammation earlier this season. It's not going to be easy, okay? This is going to be a very hard opponent. You knew that coming in. And if you escape with a 1-3 record against these guys, I think you're expecting that. A split will feel legendary. And it starts tonight with Brandon Woodruff going at 7-10 against these Dodgers. Cardinals were idle yesterday, so the Brewers are 2 games back now. The Phillies actually won yesterday against the Nationals, but the Padres lost against the Marlins. Shout out to Sandy Alcantara. You know what? My hot take, too, I was talking about this with a friend in the press box yesterday. Sandy Alcantara might finish top 3 in NL MVP voting. I don't see why he shouldn't. In my opinion, like my ballot right now, obviously the season doesn't end today, would be Goldschmidt, Alcantara, and probably, I don't want to put Arenado on there. I would probably have to put an Alonso. It's tough. But the point is, it's Alcantara and Goldschmidt for NL MVP right now. But shout out to Alcantara, shutting out the Padres. And I'll leave you with this note. I know things feel really bleak with the wild card and not having the tiebreakers and trying to catch the Cardinals. Obviously, San Diego made a splash at the deadline, and they went crazy with Soto and Drury and Bell and Hader and all this. The Brewers know that Hader can be volatile. And yes, the Brewers do not have the tiebreaker against San Diego. The Padres still have 9 more games head-to-head with these Dodgers. So their road is not very easy, and they have games against the Cardinals, as we talked about yesterday with Katie Woo, that they have that big series the Cardinals do where they go to San Diego, to Los Angeles, and to Milwaukee at the end of September. So that's another tough opponent for San Diego. Don't feel like the Brewers are guaranteed out of that last wildcard spot. There is an avenue for them to get back in if San Diego continues to free fall. They're just 4-6 in their last 10, identical to the Brewers. The Brewers are just 29-23 at home and 2 games over 500 on the road, whereas San Diego, they are 9 games over 500 at home and only 3 games over 500 on the road. So they're pretty similar profile teams, and they don't hit that much either. Okay, that's enough. That's just a long episode. It's been a long day on a microphone. Catch us tomorrow right back here, same time, same place, or catch me on WTMJ tomorrow after the game for taking your calls and texts over there with our friends on the home of the Brewers. This has been Locked On Brewers. Follow us on Twitter. Follow myself at Dom_Catronio. Let's have some fun tonight. See you at the ballpark. Until then, keep on swinging.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.